I'm Emily Mashak from Townsquare Media, and I recently sat down with the Fort Collins Mayor Wade Troxell to get his take on the coronavirus. Hi, Mayor Troxell. How are you? Very nice to meet you over the phone.
Nice to meet you. You bet. Very interesting times.
Interesting is definitely the way to put it. With that being said, can you give us an update on how Fort Collins is doing right now with the coronavirus?
You bet. So there's just been the one verified case of coronavirus, and so that's the the one that we know about. But most of I think what we're seeing now are the preparations and the implementation of quarantine those that are sick or how we're making changes for social distancing and closures and reduced hours and the impacts of that. One of the things that with Colorado State University and our schools on spring break and extending those breaks, as well as the preparation when after spring break, and so I think there's this near-term monitoring as to trying to do what we can to reduce the spread and in our community, and I think the purpose of that is the so-called flatten the curve of the rate of infection. And by flattening that curve of rate of infection, basically helps to stave off the impact it would have on our healthcare system and intensive care and that sort of thing. So and really trying to the goal is I think get on the backside curve of the rate of infection and to as much as we can keep it out of our community.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's going on now. Then the adjustment it all takes to all of our lives. We're working how to run a city council meeting with public comment and things like that. So how that might be done through utilizing technology or do we postpone or all those kinds of things are a lot of decisions are going on.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit more about what the city of Fort Collins itself is doing and what measures they're taking to prevent the spread of coronavirus?
Right. So so Larimer County, the Larimer County Department of Health and Environment, they're taking the lead on the safeguard of our health and safety for our residents. And so we're working together with them with regards to the city of Fort Collins. And we've declared an emergency. And with that, we're closing some of our facilities, such as our senior center, which we did yesterday, and other facilities, and to be reevaluated. And then also, a lot of private events take place, but they might be at the city's facilities, such as the Lincoln Center, and they've reduced basically a lot of those have canceled on their own or postponed indefinitely or postponed to some date in the future. And it's those kind of measures that the city is doing at this time.
Mm-hmm. What should individuals in Fort Collins be doing in their daily lives?
Yeah, I think everyone should be, as I think they are, more aware and protect themselves and others by practicing everyday actions such as staying at home when you're sick, clearly. And then also social distancing when you're in a group as best you can, and the groups are, like when you go to the grocery store and things like that. And then also cleaning your hands frequently. And those are the things where you're trying to reduce the contact with people where there might be the virus, but also to do the things that you can do in terms of cleaning surfaces and washing your hands frequently.
Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people are feeling scared right now, especially it can be a little unnerving with everything closing and the grocery stores aren't exactly stocked. What would your advice be for people who are worried?
Right. And, it is a challenging moment. We know that many of our businesses will be impacted by a decline of consumer spending and retail and our stores and our restaurants and our small businesses and even if they're part of a supply chain, they're through their workforce and that's working at a distance, perhaps working at home. So we're asking that people consider your local businesses as you make preparations and your spending choices over the next several weeks. And it's not only our businesses, but I think reconnecting with your neighbors and might be via a phone call, but don't lose the personal aspect of, I think, an important part of many of our lives, and part of that personal aspect is helping those that might be vulnerable and knowing that they're okay or getting something that they might need, and just being more socially aware of those around you and your friends that you may not have contacted in a while. You might want to do that. Just say hi and do those things, and that's particularly true with our businesses that. With their workforce and the service workers and so forth, I think everyone needs to have that reach out and support one another effort made at this time.
Mm-hmm. So even though we're physically distant, we can still have a strong sense of community.
I think that's important because I think that you hear a lot of the health aspects of what we're supposed to do, but I think there's also the social aspect of our society that we can't lose during this time. I've heard people talk about how people are a little shorter and things like that, and I understand given the uncertainty and the anxiety that we all experience, but I think we also have to be intentional about our community and reaching out to our community and helping each and every one.
Mm-hmm. This is clearly a time of big uncertainty, and obviously no one can see into the future, but where do you see Fort Collins heading in this year and in the coming months?
Well, I think there's the near term, the next, 2 to 3 weeks, and where hopefully we can begin to change the trajectory, do our part in that in northern Colorado and in Fort Collins to hopefully flatten the curve, and that would begin to, I think, change the dynamics that it's having at this time. But we also, as we get into the warmer season, I think there's a clearer understanding of how these epidemics spread and then how they subside, and so we're trying to reduce the impact, a peaking element of the epidemic, and that's over the next 2 to 3 weeks. I would hope in that time we can begin to see a path to heading to more normalcy and what that direction might be through our health officials and so forth, and resuming more normalcy as things play out. It could be a couple of months, and I think we have to be prepared for that. But I think the important part is the taking seriously the things that we need to do now to make that impact that we can see our way through this and hopefully in the matter of weeks and hopefully not months.
What else would you like the community to know during this time? Well,
I think clearly stay engaged in the messaging coming from the state and the city, the Larimer County Department of Health and Environment, and the safeguards that are being recommended. And there's a possibility that these recommendations might get a little bit tighter, like right now the governor has restriction of 200 groups of 250 people, and that might be going down. That recommendation might be coming from our county as well. And so when we talk about social distancing and isolating more, and we're not at a point except for those that are infected to be quarantined. But, I think to really listen to our health and our public officials as the best data and understanding is conveyed to through various media. I think if somebody is truly impacted through, beyond the health aspect, they should still reach out as best they can to others in this time of need. And I know that there's a lot of people willing to provide help, and we have to do it in a responsible sort of way. But, I think that is the community aspect that goes along with the health aspect that we are dealing with.
Mm-hmm. So preparation is key.
Preparation is key, and right now it's probably the most uncertain. And listening and staying plugged in locally to your state and county and local health officials and elected officials.
Well, thank you so much, Mayor Troxell. I appreciate your insight on this matter, and it's comforting to know that even though it's uncertain, we will get through this.
Well, thanks, Emily, and that's right. I think the thing is as the saying goes, keep calm, but stay aware and stay engaged, and do what you can to limit your contact with others at this time, and clean your hands frequently, and to help others when you can, and that's an important part of what we need to do as a community.
Again, that was Fort Collins Mayor Wade Troxell speaking on the coronavirus. Stay up to date with everything you need to know about the coronavirus on your station app or website by clicking on NoCo Virus Tracker.